but then they don't go far enough and go like, okay, if this life really is all you have, how do you make the most of it? Like you have these hands and they are wonders of evolution, and you have eyes that can see them, and they are the result of millions of years of natural selection. It is an amazing thing that you are a human being. You have this unbelievable privilege. I mean, you're not an amoeba, you're not a proton in the middle of some piece of wood. You are a human being, a sentient conscious person with the ability to not only think but to feel. How do you make the most of this incredible thing? And the answer is, on the basis of pure reason. And you say, like, you know what? I guess I would sort of echo Robert Ingersoll, who said, listen, at the end of all science and at the end of all reason and at the end of all experimentation, you come to the same conclusion. The only goodness in existence is happiness. And you should seek to be happy at all costs. But then reason it out. Who are the most happy people? Who are the people that are enjoying this life the most? Are they the people that have the most money? Gosh, it doesn't seem to prove out. Are they the people that are doing the most drugs? Sometimes, but not generally. No, that doesn't tend to over the long haul work. Are they the people that are having the sex with the most partners? And you go like, gosh, I don't have any moral problem with that, but like empirically speaking, those people don't seem to register high levels of well-being and satisfaction. And you go like, oh my gosh, it seems to be the people that are engaged in the most meaningful and loving relationships and who are doing work that they perceive to be benefiting not only themselves, but the species and the people around them and the society at large, and fighting for social justice and stuff. And you go like, oh my gosh, I'm not telling you you should commit yourself to love and to social justice because it's written in the Bible or because it's handed down from on high. I'm just saying it's the only rational choice. And so if you have enough reason, you get to the place where you say, okay, so how can I connect with people the most? How can I use my life in a way that feels meaningful and exciting to me? How can I experience the most joy and the most excitement and the most kind of deep feelings of well-being? And that's where I go like, okay, you have enough reason to convince you that you're going to die and there's nothing else, but you got to have enough reason to convince you not to watch that crazy ass television show all day and to get out there and connect with people in a way that matters. So I'm kind of an evangelist for reason. Like what I want to say is like, I want you to have more reason. I want you to have reason, so much reason that you want to sing and that you want to dance and that you want to sacrifice part of your life for the sake of other people's lives and for the sake of the future of humanity. Because ultimately, not because I care about the future of humanity, but because I do, but because I care about you. And I want you to make the most of this incredible thing that you have called your life.
Yeah.
Into a lot of people I know are feeling really unsupported in their lives, and they can't get support from their religious friends or their religious family because those people are like always quoting stuff, and they go like, gosh, that doesn't help me. And so wouldn't it be great to kind of have openly supportive friends who sort of see life the way you see it? And people are like, oh yeah, when can I come? And so we started doing just the same old kind of dinner parties that we always used to do. It's 30 people, and then it'll be 50 people, and then it'll be 100 people. And that's kind of how you build it organically. Because the fact of the matter is that all these churches, I mean, for 2,000 years, people haven't been going to these things because the narrative makes any sense, or because the magic really works. So you ask yourself, like, gosh, if these communities are built around insane narratives of a God who like loves you so much that he'll kill you if you don't believe it forever, if they're built, if that's not what's bringing the people back every week, what is? And the answer is that a lot of the what is has to do with relating around a shared mission on the one hand, and being facilitated by a trained leader on the other, who creates a context in which those good relationships can emerge and grow. that, like people say to me, how are you recruiting for your group? Well, one way I recruit for my group here on campus is I just go to lunch. I just sit at lunch. Some kid rolls up. Yesterday, a kid rolled up to me on a skateboard, and he sits down and he's eating his lunch next to me in the student center. And I just look at the skateboard and I'm like, hey, that's a really big skateboard. What's the difference between that and the small skateboards? And he starts talking to me, and he tells me about where he's from and how'd you get to USC? Why'd you choose this school? And we're just chatting. And he goes like, what do you do here? And I said, oh, like I'm the humanist chaplain here. He said, what's that? I said, well, I'm the person who kind of looks out for the spiritual lives of all the students on the campus that don't believe in God, but that really want to pursue goodness because it makes sense. And he says, gosh, that sounds great. Like, is there a group of that? And you go like, yeah. I'm putting it together. Like, would you want to come? He's like, oh, I'd love to come to that. Now, that never happened to me when I was an evangelical Christian. But the thing is, the number of people that believe in our worldview are growing. The number of people who are actively, intentionally pursuing goodness in a really kind of vigorous way, that number, we haven't even started on that. We haven't even started. I mean, imagine how much better these people will be when they're supported. And when they learn language to describe their narrative so that they can say to their kid, Johnny, you need to share. And Johnny says, why, Daddy? And he doesn't go like, well, because God calls us to share, or, like some narrative they don't believe. And then they say like, gosh, I don't know. It just seems like a good idea. But when they're able to say, Johnny, don't you understand? You're a living being. Like it's like, let me tell you about the universe. Let me tell you where we came from. Let me tell you what an incredible marvel it is that we're here at all. This is incredible. And Johnny, the key to making the most of it is, when we develop the ability to talk to a kid and say, hey, I'm gonna ground your morality in stuff that you can verify every single day. That then kids are gonna grow up and they're not gonna go like, gee, I like the values, but like that story doesn't make any sense, so maybe the values don't make any sense. Like, what's going to happen when we start grounding our kids' values in narratives and ideas and stories and that make sense to them and that don't break down under scrutiny? You're going to see an outpouring of kind of human fellowship. And that's going to be really important, because I got to tell you, I'm looking at the economy and I'm looking at the global warming and I'm looking at the rise of fundamentalist wars. And I think we're heading into a pretty difficult time. And I think there could be a real social collapse around the corner. And when that social collapse comes, people are going to need a technology that enables them to connect with each other and find meaning and help each other move through the difficulties of life. And so, like, I think we're on the Titanic. I know it's sinking. There aren't enough lifeboats. And I know how to build one. Joke about that, but like I do talk to people who say they miss that. They miss the idea that like somebody's coming to save us. But I always think about Robert Ingersoll, who said that when he realized that no one was coming to save us, there was this moment of terror, and then there was this moment of exhilaration where he was like, hey, we're the ones. There's nobody going to fix humanity except us. There's no, like, if this race is to survive and if it is to thrive, it's on us. And he said the sense of kind of adventure and responsibility and the sense of kind of human agency that came to him was almost, he said it was almost like a religious experience. and that's kind of how I feel. I'm going to die someday, but I got to tell you, if I die tomorrow, I've enjoyed being alive so much. Like, I fell in love, I had sex, I had children, and I experienced this kind of bizarre love that you have for your children. I've had friendships. I've gotten to jump out of airplanes. I've gotten to eat amazing food. Like, I've loved being alive. And if you told me that there's something I can do right now that will create a situation where 100 years from now, some other young guy is going to get to fall in love and have sex and have children and eat food and experience the wonders of this life. And he said, Bart, would you be willing to sacrifice some of your time and some of your energy right now so that that would happen, even though you won't be there to see it? I would go like, of course I would. I mean, you say, why? You won't enjoy it. I go, just the thought of it, just imagining, projecting in the future thrills my heart. And so, the truth is, I don't just love my life. I love life. I'm loyal to life. And so, and so in some sense, building these kind of communities is something that, because Jesus isn't going to save us, we have to build the architecture. We have to build the framework so that young people emerging will be able to carry the best parts of our life into the future. And so, like, do I want to contribute to that? Do I want to train kids how to build these kind of communities so that, yeah, I can't think of anything I would rather do. Partly because I want the future to be beautiful, and partly because it's back to that same old science. Like, you go like, so you have a sense of personal meaning and you're forging good relationships and you enjoy each day more because you're focused on an external goal. And I go like, yeah, have you read Viktor Frankl? Like, you can be in a concentration camp, and if you're focused on some good you're going to do for humanity, you can still survive and find meaning and find goodness in the midst of the most dire circumstances if you're about something. This is my gospel. Like, I see a 19-year-old kid on this campus who's planning to spend his whole life in search of a Lamborghini. And I want to look at that kid and say, hey, kiddo, use your reason. I've got a better life for you. There's something better to do than that.